evening, Space Drinking Specialists. It's another episode of At The Tavern. It's number 29.
Woo! We're almost 30. How about that?
Hard to believe.
Wow. So I'm Tyler.
And I'm Jason.
And with us, we've got the Rigmeister.
Hi, Ben Riggs. Hello.
The Big Rig. Can I call you the Big Rig?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll take whatever flattering nickname I can get.
So, what do we got this week, Pat? We're in 3 different locations this week. This is a Space Tavern first. I'm in Pittsburgh.
I'm in Tampa.
I'm at the headquarters.
And
I'm in Milwaukee.
Yeah, we are all over the place today.
Sure.
All right. So this week, Pat, why don't you tell us about the website?
We have a new website. It launched today. Well, yeah, today at 0:30. Yeah, and it's really pretty. So check it out. If you don't, I don't give a shit.
Did you launch it at 0:30?
Yeah, except it wasn't a shitty movie.
Oh. There's a dig. Further developments, the games are still in development, and the top secret game is still top secret. So,
Jason, when do you think we can talk about that bad boy? Hopefully soon.
I think maybe after our Saturday meeting with the secret person.
That would be just a huge help.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about Rule Zero Media.
Okay, so Rule Zero Media. It's our new media group site, and it will contain all of our game reviews, all of our geek, nerd, culture-based content. We'll have footage of different events, such as comic book conventions, science fiction conventions, movie reviews.
porn conventions, if you're into that kind of thing.
There will be a review for everyone.
Austin, Vegas.
So it's still in the works. The site hopefully will be up and running by next week, and we should have some premiere content. We have a Q&A with Carrie Fisher that will go up there. We have some time-lapse footage from a recent comic book convention here in Tampa. We'll also have some book reviews and some local Tampa cosplayer animated GIFs and some fun pictures to add to that. We'll have some comic book reviews and a couple more videos on some up-and-coming Kickstarter games. So
Yeah, and also
go ahead.
all of our game updates too for any games we have in the works.
Yep. So we'll have weekly updates. Check the latest posts once the site gets up to stay informed with everything that's going on with Space Tavern Games. And keep in touch.
And we have one viewer.
Wow, one viewer sure sounds like a full crowd.
To our one viewer, we want to say to you, we hope you enjoy.
We apologize.
commercials.
Are you having problems?
Facebook me if it's a friend of mine.
And don't forget, everybody, enjoy your tasty Red Bull beverage.
Yes, if you have a Red Bull, open it now and drink it.
Because you'll be right on target with us.
And if you happen to be watching and you know NPH, tell him that he can come on our show and drink Red Bull.
I had a Red Bull, but I've been so busy with school in the past 2 days that all I've done is drink Red Bull. So thank you, Red Bull. You keep me alive.
Are you in a summer semester?
Yes, I am. I'm doing a summer residency for my MFA program.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, well, I think is that it for us, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pass it on over to the big rigs.
Oh boy.
Hey, how's Murtaugh?
How's what?
How's your partner, Murtaugh? Yeah. No.
Oh.
Danny Glover.
He's getting too old.
He says that every movie.
He's not getting any younger. So the first thing I guess I would talk about, and I literally could talk about this for 2 hours, is Gen Con 2015. I was in Indianapolis this past week, and an awful lot of stuff went down. Usually Gen Con is just kind of you go, you play a bunch of games, you check things out. There was a number of things that happened at Gen Con that were approaching legitimate news stories this year, which is unusual. Usually Gen Con's not that dramatic.
I love drama.
Yeah, well, but to start with the weirdest one, Warner Brothers essentially reconfirmed that they are doing another Dungeons and Dragons movie.
We heard that, and we know why.
Why are they doing it? Tell me why.
So they can
Patrick
pull
says
another.
it best.
Well, yeah, it's called WoW. You've heard of it, right? It's a game.
They want to cash it. They want to cash in on WoW. You think?
Yeah. I mean that's what makes the most sense, and it's gonna be horrible, just like the TV show that you can buy at Walmart for like $5 on DVD.
Well, the last Dungeons and Dragons movie was not good. It did not cheer me up after 9/11, let me tell you. And I can't imagine that the new Dungeons and Dragons movie is going to be substantially better, because they have one of the guys working on it is the producer is the same guy who directed the old one. So why would they think it's going to be any better than that?
I like to stand alone and say that if the Dungeons and Dragons animated series was a serious attempt at making entertainment, this is going to blow.
I would not be optimistic that it's going to be a good film.
Okay.
That's for sure.
So they announced that they were going to make another movie. What they did not say was who would be directing or producing it.
The producer, they announced two producers. One, and I don't remember either of their names, but one of the names I recognized, and one of the two producers was the same guy who directed the previous one. I'd have to look it up. I suppose the internet is right in front of me. I suppose I could, but I'd have to look it up. But I know they announced they had some names attached. They even had a screenplay, because the screenplay writer, he wrote a screenplay based on Gary Gygax's first game called Chainmail from 1973. He sold that script last year, and Warner Brothers bought that script, then got the rights to D&D, and are now asking that writer to retrofit his script about a different Gary Gygax game to fit Dungeons and Dragons with a producer attached who directed the previous film. So I am not a Hollywood guy, but this smells like nightmare already. Then again, everyone thought Pirates of the Caribbean would be terrible. Who knows?
So if I've learned anything in the past 2 days after talking to some people who have been on writing staffs and have lived in LA for a while, just having a producer on a script doesn't mean dick until you have a director. And listening to the buttfuckery that is this setup, I would have to say that I don't think there's a single director that's going to want to touch this.
I thought those producers that were announced were consulting producers, that they weren't going to be
Let me turn to Google.
the two producing individuals. They were just consultants because they were going to be advisors, in other words, because they made the first one.
That's what producers are, essentially.
Yeah, I just think Warner Brothers is a giant, massive douche overlord.
You're such a way with words.
Let's look at Superman Returns. Look at this. No, not Superman. Well, yeah, you could count Superman Returns just because it was horrible, and I hope that Brandon Roth forever hates doing that movie. But Man of Steel absolutely murdered Superman. I mean, congratulations, you made it worse than he already is, which is hard to do. The dude's like a 3-year-old's wet dream, and they made it completely a million times more horrible than Superman is, which I applaud them for that. I really do.
It takes a special kind of stupid to make something worse than it already is.
And I'm not knocking Ben Affleck. I really think he has some great acting skills after watching The Town. But they're going to destroy Batman. And, I mean, Christian Bale had totally resurrected the bat nipple.
And it's gone again.
And it's going to be gone. I mean, there's so much potential. But Warner Brothers is like, well, here's that trailer that's been leaked all over the place, and they're pissed off about it. And then if something like that happens for Marvel, Marvel's like, oh, looks like Loki did it. No big deal. Here you go, guys. Enjoy it. I wish Warner Brothers would get a hold of Captain America and just destroy him.
Oh, please. Oh, please.
Wait, can we go back to the Dungeons and Dragons thing? I need to understand why whoever is in charge...
Hold on. What was that you were drinking on our show?
Just water.
Unacceptable.
He does it anyway.
He's got water in a beer bottle.
I'm old!
Alright, so, Jason.
So, I gotta ask this, right? I mean, the intellectual property of Dungeons and Dragons spans 40 years. You have to ask yourself this. If the person who is in charge of making the screenplay decisions does not have at least a 25% knowledge breadth of all of that content, then there is nothing he could possibly create that will be good. There are so many stories in the D&D world that there's no need to take from the games. Use the stories that came from the world. Don't use the games. They don't fit in a screenplay.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying I'm not a marketing expert, but I know that if you slap the name D&D on a movie, it's going to make a lot of money, no matter how terrible it is. Thank you, Pat.
That's so sad, but it's true.
But they could do Icewind Dale, or
yeah, they could do the Icewind Dale trilogy. They could do anything in the Sojourn series.
Neverwinter Nights.
Neverwinter Nights. They could do the Avatar series, where the gods die. Shadowdale, Tantris, and Waterdeep.
Yeah.
The good news is that the good news is that the screenwriter clearly knows a thing about D&D because he based his screenplay off of a smaller pre-existing game than Dungeons and Dragons. So he must know an awful lot about Dungeons and Dragons to even know that game exists. However, one of the problems I think with making a film property out of D&D is cliche is often valuable when running a game at a table. People enjoy it, it's comfortable, it's familiar, and you don't know it's a cliche when you're in it. But obviously that's death in a movie to just be like, well, it's a cliche, we're trotting it out.
Exactly.
And it'll be problematic.
They all start by just regular dudes, and they're like, I want to become an adventurer, so they pull out some fucking dice, and they roll the characters, and that's how the movie starts.
I really want to see a bunch of different directors do a D&D movie. I'd love to see a Murder Hobos movie directed by Quentin Tarantino, where it's literally just the adventuring party killing everything that exists.
Have you guys seen that movie about the guys that play D&D? And
Dark Dungeons?
It's a guy who's trying to write what do they call that? You have a box set, and then you have a supplemental. It's called a...
Adventure?
Yeah, but they call it a module. It's about a guy who wants to write a module for the D&D game. He runs like a record store or something, or a bookstore or something like that. And him and his friends play Dungeons and Dragons in the back room. And in their active playing, they have like really bad costumes on, and their characters are like in the world, playing in this world. And,
Mazes and Monsters? Was it starring Tom Hanks?
No. This was like early 2000s, maybe, or maybe mid 2000s. It was a great movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's not Mazes and Monsters then, because Mazes and Monsters was flipping horrible.
So what else you got for us there, Ben?
Oh wow, where to begin?
That was the first piece of news, and we just spent like 20 minutes on it.
Yeah, let's. I'll start with one of the less salacious things. Oh, what was it called?
The Gamers, Darkness Rising.
Oh, The Gamers. Yeah, okay, I gotcha. I actually interviewed one of the actresses from that this weekend, Jen Page. They put her on the box. She's the chick in the green smoke. But so you guys know that Call of Cthulhu is a game that exists, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Call of Cthulhu, for being the granddaddy of horror role-playing games, has really been having its lunch eaten by other gaming companies for the past 15 to 20 years. They have been wholly unable to get books out in a timely fashion to a ridiculous extent. They had a hugely successful Kickstarter 4 years ago for a remake of Horror on the Orient Express, which is a product they put out 30 years ago. And it took 4 years for that product to come out. 2 years ago, they did a 7th edition Call of Cthulhu Kickstarter, made hundreds of thousands of dollars. That product is written and is still not out. Essentially, last week, the CEO of Chaosium was fired, kicked out. It's hard to parse the marketing speak of what actually happened, but he was removed from being CEO of Chaosium. His name was Charlie Crank. And his spot has, for the time, been taken by Greg Stafford, the original CEO of Chaosium, and Sandy Peterson, the original writer of Call of Cthulhu. So you literally had the people who founded this company 40 years ago come, kick the butt of the current CEO, who's been entirely ineffective in getting product which people paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for in advance, and he couldn't get that product out the door, kicked him out, and they are now promising, A, that all these Kickstarters will be fulfilled in a timely fashion, B, they have gone forth and essentially encouraged every company making Cthulhu Mythos role-playing games to start cooperating. For example, it was announced at Gen Con that the people who make this, Delta Green is a Call of Cthulhu game where you're basically fighting aliens. They announced that they were going to be partnering with these people, the people who make Trail of Cthulhu, which is like Call of Cthulhu but set in the 1930s. They were going to team together to produce a Delta Green game set in Vietnam, where you are playing Special Forces ops in Vietnam fighting Cthulhu Mythos aliens, which I was hugely excited to hear. I'm like, that's super cool. I'm excited about this. And again, it's the level of cooperation that is going on between gaming companies now is really interesting to me. Furthermore, the fact that you can have the founders of a company descend from on high 40 years later to kick the butt of a CEO is also very interesting to me. Greg Stafford, the guy who founded Chaosium, is a super nice guy. Have I talked too much, or do you want to hear another story that's related to this?
That was wow. Pat, to fill you in real quick, Call of Cthulhu, the company Chaosium, let me get the bullet points here, fired their CEO for being a dick because apparently he sucked his job. The owners and original founders of the company came back to act as CEOs to get everything fulfilled and back to order, and then they encouraged Cthulhu game makers to cooperate, and there is a new game coming out set in Vietnam where you play Special Forces fighting Cthulhu things.
That was impressive.
I want that so hard.
Tyler has mad skills.
Yeah, they put out postcards where it was just a Huey helicopter being enveloped by tentacles.
Yes.
Here, let me pull it up. I have it.
There's probably a porn on the internet of it already. I've seen enough hentai to know where that's gonna go.
All right.
He's getting it out. I'm actually really excited. I want to see this.
Okay, that might be backwards. At least it's not upside down.
That
So yeah, that
That's
got me excited.
Down, by the way.
Pardon?
That's an MH53.
Oh, I'm glad somebody knows what they're talking about.
that's amazing.
What?
I need it. The postcard. I need that game.
Ready for some more?
Yes.
So, okay, have you heard of this? It's Red and Pleasant Land by Zach S.
No.
Okay. So, long story short, Red and Pleasant Land is a supplement for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Lamentations of the Flame Princess is one of those OSR games that's trying to be like D&D was in the 1980s, essentially. Zach S. Has written a few other gaming supplements. He is also an artist. He has an art degree from Yale. So he also illustrated the entire book himself.
Ooh.
And the...
Can you hold that? Can you hold that map up real quick?
Sure.
For a guy that went to Yale. Okay, that's just the style. All right.
Yeah.
I was just saying, for a guy who went to Yale, it looks like somebody just scribbled in a notebook and colored
Yeah.
it.
Let me pull up something more artsy.
Ooh.
And now let me find some of his lady friends, because he used live models apparently for all the drawings in this book.
They have high charisma.
He also runs a blog called D&D with Porn Stars.
Why have we never heard of this?
And so this book, by the way, is amazing. I think it's one of the top two best supplements I've ever read. It's what would happen if there was a country ruled by Dracula and the Queen from Alice in Wonderland, and they were at war with each other, and they were both vampires, is the core concept, which sounds bizarre, but it's absolutely amazing. Now, Zach S., because of his blog, playing D&D with Porn Stars, he's, been playing D&D with pretty girls, and guess what? He's popular because of it. And his ideas on Dungeons & Dragons have become so influential that he's listed as a, what's the word I'm looking for? A special consultant on D&D 5. Like, if you look in your D&D Player's Handbook, he's in there as a special consultant with other gaming royalty. Now, that's all the good news. The bad news is that I also get massive reports that he's a huge jerk. Now, I've been trying to substantiate these reports, and I've been having a hard time doing it, but the rumor mill is basically that if you get in a fight with him online, it gets personal quickly, and there's an awful lot of harassment that goes on of you if you disagree with him, and he's kind of posting a list of, here are people I think deserve to be harassed on his blog, and then, surprise, surprise, those people get hugely harassed. This product was up for, I'm going to say 5 Ennies this past week, the gaming equivalent of the Academy Awards. Mm-hmm. He was up against things like the Player's Handbook, and he won.
Wow.
Wow, so now he's even more of a dick.
Yeah. Well, and at Gen Con, I literally saw people walking around wearing shirts saying Zach S. saved D&D. So he's a hugely polarizing figure. So on the one hand, this is an amazing product, and it probably deserved to win, because I honestly think it's one of the best books I've ever read for a game. On the other hand, I'm friends with people on Facebook who are also game designers that literally the next day were receiving harassing emails saying things like, Zach S. swept the Ennies, you're not even Indianapolis, and no one cares. So it's while in some ways it's good to see that a small game can literally defeat D&D, on the other hand, he's a divisive figure and maybe not the nicest guy in the world, but then again, surprise, surprise, geniuses aren't always nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a personal policy against people who can't remain normal people, no matter how much fame they accumulate.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave it at that. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up being harassed on the internet, and we all know that that's not going to end pretty.
See, well, I'll admit.
Next year.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Said it looks like I might have to pick a fight next year.
Yeah.
Looks
You
like I
going
might
to
have
con
to
next year?
What?
You guys going
yeah.
to Gen Con next year?
Oh yeah, there's
I invited you to join our team. What the hell? Did you not see that on Twitter?
No, I didn't.
we invited you to join our wiffle ball team because we have thrown down with the Indie Game Alliance, and it has turned into a wiffle ball game. Which, by the way, Holden, when you see this, we would like to change it to slow pitch softball because wiffle ball is really hard to hit home runs and stuff.
If you want to win, you should put me on the other team.
Hey Holden, I got an A+ recruit for you.
No, you can play with us.
Let me show you my hand. Let's see if this works on camera.
Whoa.
Does that look kind of messed up and gnarly?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So,
do this hand steady as a rock.
So, as people from Pennsylvania, you must have seen Unbreakable. Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, M. Night Shyamalan came out about 2002.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the thing Samuel L. Jackson has? I have that too, so I just break bones really easily, which is why I do things like tabletop role-playing games.
Interesting.
I think I don't think it would be funny, but I think it would be funny if you went to roll dice and you broke a pinky.
It's funny until it happens.
The idea of it is funny. I don't think actually it happening it would be funny.
Yeah, until things actually get smashed, it's funny to think about. Do you want me to keep rolling? I have more.
Please do. You're our official Gen Con consultant or representative, respondent, whatever you want to call yourself.
So the next thing I would point out then is this. And this is another thing I have to pick up. Sorry, it was too big to bring over here.
What is that?
Looks like Skyrim in a box.
No, it's not big enough.
This is the Numenera Reliquary. I can't even pronounce it right. Reliquary box. Yes, thank you. This was a Kickstarter. Basically, Monte Cook Games was inspired by their Italian translator to do a box set. Now, when I saw that as a Kickstarter, I'm like, a box set? I already have the core book. Why would I want a box set? Then I saw... Pardon?
And you're holding it, so...
And now I'm holding it. Then I saw an unboxing, and I saw what was inside. And the things contained herein were so absolutely amazing that I rushed to the Monte Cook Games booth, bought one of the few copies they had that weren't going to Kickstarter backers. It cost me $200. It is, I think, the most expensive gaming product I ever purchased. But when you open it up, it's magnetic. I need to reach right.
Well, whoa. $200 for magnets.
First thing, some dice. There's an actual cloth map.
Whoa. See, I love cloth maps. It's like when Skyrim released those canvas maps, I was all over that.
Yeah, that was the first thing that got me. Actual cloth map of the Numenera world.
That's freaking sweet.
I dig that.
A playmat, which is the equivalent of the Game Master screen, but with all the info on it, so your players can see it too. More maps.
I love maps.
Notebooks.
A dead body.
More maps.
Those are city maps too. I love those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on. And then when you get to the bottom, It does have the entirety of the core book all over again, but this time divided up into booklets, so you can just hand the players the player booklet, you keep the GM booklet, and there's a monster map. Not a monster map, a monster poster, so you can see the relative sizes of different things in Numenera. And the Monty Cook Games booth, their cash register is run by an 11-year-old girl. Every year, well, now she was 10 last year, obviously. Last year, I went with a coupon to the Monty Cook Games booth because at their seminar they gave out 20% off coupons, and I'm like, great, I'm going to go buy some things, get 20% off. Get in line, get to the front, and the 10-year-old girl is like, you can't use this coupon. This is not how it's used. It's only for the website. And I look and I'm like, she's right, gosh darn it. And she was back again this year. I actually did an interview with her because they're the only booth at Gen Con allowing pre-teens to run credit cards through iPads.
Nice.
I actually asked them, is she violating any child labor laws in Indiana? And they were like, well, we're not paying her.
They probably hooked her up with one of those box sets.
Yeah.
Room and board.
Then they tried to pass it under the table, and the whole table moved. So
Yeah. So the money. And if you have not played Numenera or The Strange, go check it out. They're a ton of fun. Monty Cook Games. Pardon?
Nothing.
Okay. Now the one of the hot things at the show that I could not get my hands on was a game called Ashes by Plaid Hat Games. Literally, I would go to try and get a demo of this game. I would go up to the guy running it and be like, hey, can I get in the game? And other people standing around waiting to play the game would be like, excuse me, we were here first, you cannot play. I tried to get a demo on Thursday, couldn't get a demo. I tried to get a demo on Friday, I couldn't get a demo. Finally, Saturday morning, I'm like, okay, it's $35. I'm just going to plunk down $35 for this game, cross my fingers. They're sold out by Saturday morning.
Wow.
Gen Con this year broke attendance records. It was 61,000 individual gamers with a turnstile attendance of over 200,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It has more than doubled in size in the past 10 years.
And next year it will have a slow-pitch softball game. because we will be promoting a game that I can't name yet because we haven't done a press release for it. But
hey, that's okay. There's lots of secrets you learn at Gen Con that you can't talk about, and
We're
it's always big.
gonna break Gen Con.
Yeah, do it. Break it hard.
We're gonna show up.
Hashtag break Gen. The Tavern Wagon.
Yeah.
The Tavern Wagon. It's our land boat.
It's gonna be a land boat. Seriously, we're gonna dress it up like a man of war.
Have you guys heard about the marketing internships?
No.
So in a couple months, Google Gen Con marketing internships because if you win a marketing internship at Gen Con, they basically upgrade all your stuff, give you one of the primo booths, and give you a ton of free advertising. And from what I could pick up by talking to other distributors, you need to be paying for a booth somewhere at the con already, which it sounds like you guys are doing, based on what you're saying. You fill out a couple applications, send in some promotional materials, like a nice-looking website, and then they make a decision whether or not they're going to give you free stuff. So it looks like maybe an hour's worth of work for maybe $5,000 worth of marketing stuff. So consider it.
Who doesn't love free stuff?
Yeah, amen.
Someone write that down.
Free.
Or we can just rewatch the episode. We can also do that.
Capital R. Capital E. Capital E. Free.
That's the only thing I'm writing down. Free.
So what can you tell me about your rivalry with the is it the Indie Game Alliance or the Indie?
No,
it's a friendly rivalry. It started when Holden, the head of the IGA, had said that something along the lines of the Pirates suck. So
Oh boy.
things escalated into, I mean, obviously, but things escalated into, we challenge you to a wiffle ball game at Gen Con next year for charity. So
That's
where,
good press.
yeah, and there's a couple softball fields, a couple blocks from the this main facilities, so I feel like we could get a decent crowd of people
Nice.
just
Go
to play
for it.
play a softball game for charity, because it should be softball, I think, especially because I want to hit a home run, and wiffle balls only go so far. I really also want Holden to pitch, and I want to hit a home run, and I'm going to do the biggest bat flip anybody's ever seen.
You can do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna flip the bat, and then I'm gonna catch it, and I'm gonna learn how to juggle bats, and I'm just gonna spend like 2 minutes flipping the bat.
No, you should just walk around the bases juggling the bats.
No, I'll grab 2 more bats, and I'll just walk around juggling.
I'll be right back. I need to plug in my computer.
Okay.
1 second.
So yeah, so let's while he's away, we can lay down the laws for the softball game that we were talking about, Pat. Did we say what we say? Wood bats only.
Yep.
Wood bats only, and we'll go by ASA softball rules. Slow pitch rules, because it's just the easiest way to do it.
As long as everyone starts with a 0-0.
Oh, you don't want to start with a 1-1?
No.
Oh man, the game's gonna go on forever.
No, it's not. We're gonna cream them.
Yeah, you're right.
7 innings.
Yeah, 7 innings, no 15-run rule. We're gonna play the full 7 innings.
Dude, after 2 Red Bulls, you can't miss a ball.
What are you talking about? I'm gonna have 4 Red Bulls.
Like everything is like in slow motion at that point. You see everything.
It'll be like that scene in what was it? Over the Hedge.
Yeah, Over the Hedge when the squirrel drinks coffee.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
He sees the lasers going.
Dude, what if they gave Ratatoss? What if they gave Ratatoss coffee? He is a giant, burly Paul Bunyan squirrel.
That's a lot of trees you cut down.
He guards the world tree. He's like huge. He's like 12 feet tall and looks like.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that book yet. For reasons.
For reasons unknown.
Yeah, but they talk about him in the end of the second book. There's a preview. But, alright, also, everyone on the STG crew is going to have camelbacks filled with Red Bull and vodka. And that will be how we rehydrate throughout the day.
With spurts of cranberry juice.
Yes.
For flavor.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go whole hog, guys. Let's go whole hog. Everclear, Red Bull, and cranberry juice.
Dude, we won't make it through the front door.
They'll be dragging us by our bottom lip.
Are you going to be running games?
We're going to try.
In my experience, and again, it's for everyone, but I can't mix alcohol with running. I can mix it with playing, but not with running. Because, again, you never know what's going to, especially at Gen Con, what's going to come walking in the door. On Saturday morning at 8 a.m., I had a woman from Chad whose second language was English and had never played a role-playing game before walk into my game. And
Nice.
now, by the end of the game, she was shooting aliens out the airlock, but, I definitely sat down and I was like, oh boy, this is not what I was expecting when I got here this morning. But you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, see, we're going to arrive, and we're going to crash the Man of War through the front door. It's set up wherever it stops.
Is that your car?
It's going to be the car boat we're gonna build, and we're going to be dressed in black petticoats with modern-day firearms. The Man of War is going to be equipped with 105, 120, and 155 howitzers.
We'll all have sabers.
Are you a veteran?
Hmm?
Are you a veteran?
Yeah. And, but,
which branch again?
What?
Which branch again?
Army.
Army. When did you get out?
2008.
2008. Can I ask where you were stationed?
Fort Benning.
Fort Benning. The whole time?
Yeah.
Wow.
But so I'm gonna wear the Assassin's Creed pirate armor. I've decided, and I'm gonna run across the boots that we crashed into, and jump on a guard or something.
Air assassinate.
I really hope we crash into like one of those like huge boots, like you know how at like video game conventions like Steam has like a freaking square mile of a booth, and I hope we crash into it and like take over like this little spot on it.
Yes, yes,
And then we just
yes.
cover all their banners with our stuff.
We should do it. What is that? Speed 2, where it has that horrible ship model crashing into a town.
Oh yeah.
Ben, what else you got for us, man?
So, I would say that one of the weirdest things that happened to me at Gen Con was on Saturday, there's a costume parade. I come out of the Great Hall, and I'm standing watching people getting ready for the costume parade. And I see a guy dressed like Leonidas from 300 walking towards me, and I say dressed in the loosest sense of the term. He's barely clothed, of course, because he's Leonidas from 300, and he looks buffer than Gerard Butler did in the movie. I mean,
Nice.
he could crack walnuts with his pectoral muscles. And I'm disgusted and feel less than human just looking at him, you know.
We are Sparta.
Yeah. And being kind of a jerk, I say to the guy, "How long you been planning that outfit, buddy?" And he stops. He takes his helmet off. And
Stifling.
Pardon?
And he says, "We are Sparta," and kicks you in your chest.
He took his helmet off, so I said, "It's stifling." Narrowed his vision.
Nice. Yes.
No, but he says a long time, and I look into his eyes, and this is something that I don't know how well it will translate, but I encourage you all to Google Milverine right now, Milverine, because in Milwaukee there's this dude who looks exactly like Hugh Jackman, who just walks around the city with his shirt off, kind of hairy and buff, with his hair done up a bit like Wolverine, so we call him the Milverine. And it's just what he does. He runs around Milwaukee kind of looking like Hugh Jackman. And it was the Milverine. The Milverine was in Indianapolis being Leonidas. "Are you the Milverine?" And he's like, "Yes, I am." I'm like, "Oh my God, I met the Milverine at Gen Con," which, you know, is a bit of me being a local goober, but that was pretty cool. I did manage to get some interviews at Gen Con that I definitely had to fight for. I got to interview Gene Ha, who drew Top 10 written by Alan Moore. That was definitely a big get. Let's see, what else? Brain. I played a game called Monarch. It is made by a company called Tilt Factor. Tilt Factor attempts to affect social change through gaming, and they've done a lot of. Pardon?
Board game hippies.
Kind of, but they're run by an Ivy League university, so they're very well-funded board game hippies.
Yeah, they're rich board game hippies.
They are, very much so.
Trust
and the company or department is run by a woman, Dr. Mary Flanagan, and she's been running the department, but this is her first game. It's called Monarch, and it's about two sisters vying for control of a kingdom after their father dies. And she said that the game has been getting a lot of positive attention, but when she was trying to go through other publishers to publish it, she got advice like, "We want you to change your first name, Dr. Flanagan, to a German man's name, like Helmut." And she was like, "Helmut Flanagan?" Yes. Helmut Flanagan. "We think it'll sell much better if you're a German man, so let's do that." She did not change her name to Helmut Flanagan.
I'm gonna name my first child Helmut Flanagan.
Yeah. But
Man or woman.
In class.
in addition, though, to that, she was incredibly eloquent on gaming and just talking about how, you know, we're all very fun and happy and kind of happy-go-lucky when we're talking about games, but that the experiences we have in game are very enduring, very important, and actually add pages to the book of our life, is I think how she put it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful thing I think I've heard anyone say ever. So I'll let you know when I have some of the stuff I got, because I interviewed her as well. And I'll let you know when I have some of the stuff I got from her up on my website, because she was just the most eloquent person I think I've ever heard talking about games as games. And you know, we all act happy-go-lucky and like they're inconsequential, and at the same time we act like they're super important, like spending $200 on a Numenera box set.
But you forgot to mention at the bottom, after you get past the rule books, is a portal to hell where you can go and sell your soul for the expansion. you can go and sell your soul for the next box set as a pre-order.
Yeah. I saw Monty Cook, who created Numenera and wrote the 3rd edition Player's Handbook, and at the convention, and he said he sees me with the box set, and I'm very much like, oh God, I'm buying this box set. It's $200, Monty. I can't believe it. And he's like, no, it's an investment. This is something you need. I'm like, that's dealer talk, Monty. But it is kind of true. Now, did you guys know that Wizards of the Coast does not have a booth at Gen Con?
Really?
They're an umbrella company.
Yes. But like, if you want to buy a Wizards of the Coast product at Gen Con, you essentially need to go to another booth to get it. And they do have a big hall where you're playing lots of games, but it is still weird that there's not a booth where you can go and talk to the creators and stuff like that. Like, Mike Morells was there, but I didn't see him at the con, which is really... Well,
I think that has a lot to do with them needing to remain far removed from their product sales, because they own properties and they co-brand properties. They can't use their exclusivity to promote products that they're co-branding.
What are you guys playing right now?
School.
If I had time to play a game.
Is it games you can't talk about because they're going to be at Gen Con next year?
Yeah, I guess you could say we're playing it. I'm ready to bash my face against my desk about it.
Patrick is slowly discovering the game design process.
9 levels of hell. But
I think the latest game that I played was Pixel Glory by Zafty Games.
Yeah, I have to play this game, Trove.
Huh.
And I guess X-Wing, you could say we're playing X-Wing.
By playing X-Wing, you mean we're playing with the miniatures and not really playing the game.
Yeah. I don't know, there's a bunch of games I have to demo and stuff and write reviews for.
For your website?
Yeah.
For RZM. By the way, we're totally winning in the acronyms department.
Yes.
Or in short form, like STG, and then now we have RZM. They both roll off the tongue really nicely. You know what doesn't roll off the tongue really nicely? IGA.
But I think that our super secret mythical...
I think he's watching. I think...
Did he just tweet? I really hope he tweeted.
He retweeted. I was like, I'm trash talking you.
Yeah, but I think our super secret ultra mythic rare project is taking up a great deal of our playtime.
Yeah. Honestly, Ben, I don't have time. Seriously, kids, school, this.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Hey, any of your other students lie about playing D&D lately?
Well, it's summer, so no. But at the end of the year, what started this? I had a bunch of 7th grade girls come to me and ask me to run Dungeons and Dragons for them. So
You meet
Pardon?
You meet at a hair salon.
Well, again, this is one of the things that's really changed. I don't know when it happened or how it happened, but like again, I look at my classroom and almost everyone would be considered a nerd or geek probably 20 years ago. Like everyone's into video games, and everyone is into fantasy, sci-fi, or anime. So having the girls come and do it, like to me, like it's like, whoa, the girls are coming and doing this. But then I go to Gen Con and 10-year-old girls are running role-playing game company booths. Like, I
definitely think that the carousel has changed its color for sure. Social norms have extended beyond labels, and now I think genres run.
Clicks.
Yeah. It's like, are you part of this genre? Not are you part of this clique or this this facilitated social norm. I'm just part of this genre. I exist inside it.
So I did say to the 7th grade girls, okay, we're going to play some D&D. So I ran them through the D&D starter set, one small dungeon from the D&D starter set during recess, and that took about a week of staying in during recess.
7th grade is recess?
Pardon? Yep, just one. They only have it at my school. They have it 3 times a week, so it's not a ton of recess. But 7th graders still have some recess.
Fucking cheating.
Hey, look, that's my lunch hour you're talking about, buddy.
You look longingly out the window, staring, wishing you could go out and play recess, and then you realize, but I have the Numenera box set. I don't need to go outside.
It will.
What's outside for?
All I need is right here.
I did have a kid who broke his leg, who, of course, then couldn't go out to recess, who would literally go up to the window on those lovely, cool spring days and put his hand against the window and just look outside, and he looked like the saddest puppy in the world.
Football.
Yeah. After I ran the girls through the D&D starter set, I ran them through Dungeon Crawl Classics number 79, I think, Frozen in Time, which is where you explore a time traveler's grave, essentially. And you find things like the Venus de Milo and paintings by Jackson Pollock and all this crazy stuff. And they absolutely loved it. They loved it so much that Wizards of the Coast gave me 2 copies of the starter set. So I lent one to a 7th grader over the summer on the condition that she run it for other 7th graders. So we're 2 weeks out from the start of school, so then I get to find out if she actually ran the starter set for other kids.
Nice. WOC is really good about, providing their products to people that ask for them. If you generally write them something that's worthy of their time to look at it, they have no problem sending you content.
Yeah, the WotC's only ever said no to me about one thing. I asked for an interview with Mike Merles in which I would discuss the departure of an employee from Wizards of the Coast, and that they said no to. But that is the only no they've ever given me. Literally everything else I've ever asked for, they've been like, here, yes, we'll ship it to your house. So that's been very, very nice on their part, and I can certainly understand them being like, no, we're not going to have our lead developer discuss someone leaving the company with you. Maybe that was a rookie journalism mistake. Maybe I just shouldn't have said it. Maybe I would have been like, I want to talk about D&D 5th edition. Is that okay?
So we got a response from our lovely friend Holden, who essentially said he could take me and Pat on in football, but we essentially told him that Gen Con's in the summer, we should play summer sport, you big bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at
the Indie Games Alliance right now, and you're picking some fights with a lot of companies.
Yeah, we know.
Well, we're one of them. That's why.
Yeah, we're one of them.
We're like the the group of ragtags that you send out. We're like Easy Company. That you always send out.
I make
This
a
isn't
challenge.
Alpha Company. This isn't Beta Company.
I make a challenge to IGA and anyone affiliated with them that I reign supreme in foosball.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you could dunk on them, and I was like, please do. That would be so cool.
Yes.
That's another reason why we need to play softball, though, is because hitting a walk-off or hitting a home run against Holden, because I imagine he's going to pitch, would be the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah, breaking the bat in the process.
Yes. And if it doesn't break on the swing, I break it myself.
Yeah, but not like Darryl Strawberry did, where he tried it 3 times and hurt his knee.
No, I'm going to take it, break it over the helmet that I'll wear. Just for that occasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be, Gen Con's going to be
No, you know what you need to do, Tyler?
What?
You need to get one of those tiny bats. One of the little ones.
The little souvenir one.
Come up to the plate with no bat on you, right? And you pull this little bat out, and you're like, let's go.
Just be like, wait, where's my pen? Like,
yes. And bunt with it.
Yeah, I'll get it personalized. I'll say Holden sucks on it. So when I go to bunt, he can barely read it.
All right. As long as my bat is hot pink and says like diva and shit all over it, and
I thought we were gonna get you a Jobu bat.
well, that too. But for the first time up, and I'm gonna pull it out. You know my walk up where I carry it up like a sword.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, what's your walk up music, Jason? Mine's Long, Long Way From Home by Foreigner.
I think my walk up music is probably Black
Straight
Crowes. Yeah.
I've got a couple options.
It has to be Boston.
Too hard to handle.
My
Too hard to handle by Black Crowes.
My walk-up song is gonna be "Foreplay Long Time" by Boston.
Foreplay Long Time. Yes, I sing that song very well, actually.
You can sing while I walk up.
I think I have a recording.
Get the tiny bat, stick it out like a mush. And then my home run song is going to be something completely ridiculous, like the Yakety Sax or something.
You know what? I think there's actually a copy of that song with Rules of Engagement, this band from Jacksonville that I sung with them, in my Google Drive.
We'll send it. We'll put it up on the Twitter for everybody to look at later. Here's Jason playing.
Under music.
Yeah. So we know how much time do we have today with you, Ben? I know you're a teacher, but this is the summer.
If I could go in the next half hour, so that'd be good for me.
Well, do you have any other incredibly exciting Gen Con news? Was there any like
news?
What kind of like drama was going down? Was there any like fights or hotels being burned down?
Not so much amongst gamers.
Kind of parties
We're
this?
like the rock stars then of gamers.
I always go to the.
We live like rock stars, and we're not even rock stars yet.
I always go to the Gen Con ball, and that's always a ton of fun. I mean, everybody, a bunch of young nerds getting drunk and lots of partial states of undress. That's nice.
There's a ball.
There's a ball, yeah. Usually they have really good DJs too. It's in Union Station in Indy, so it looks like you're having a rave in a church, but geekier, I would say.
I think you broke Pat.
I will admit, the Gen Con ball is like. Go ahead, sir.
We're gonna create an op order and we're gonna rate it like the pirates we are.
That's fine. They'd enjoy that, I'm sure. They would enjoy your rating, and you'd get some booty, I'm sure.
I'm sure the folks at Union Station would not be pleased when we smash through their windows from our mast. But whatever.
See, I feel like we talk about how awesome we think we'd be, but if you ever seen that episode of Family Guy where Peter becomes a pirate, that's just going to be us. Bust through the door.
Now, almost literally the last thing I saw at Gen Con was I was walking past the Chaosium booth, the people who sell Call of Cthulhu, and there's a curly-haired man who looks to be in his mid-60s giving a 12-year-old boy a copy of the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. And he starts saying, I saw that you wanted this, and I thought you should have it because you just seem like, you know, you really wanted it, and you're a 12-year-old boy, and it's summer, so I'm giving you this role-playing game. And I, of course, stopped to rubberneck. I'm like, well, this is just a very sweet, tender moment. This is probably the kid's grandpa, and they're related. And so I stopped, and I listened to this conversation. That's when I noticed the name tag on the gentleman is Greg Stafford, who is the current CEO of Chaosium. So I pull up my recorder, I go up, and I'm like, Mr. Stafford, can I interview you about this? And he says yes. So he tells me the whole story of, you know, he just saw this kid, he thought the kid wanted it, and he wanted to give the kid the role-playing game. So he did. And I thought that was just super, super sweet. And I interview the kid. He says thank you. He also got Sandy Peterson, the creator of Call of Cthulhu, to sign it. Then, as I'm wrapping up, Greg Stafford says, "Did you know I'm the first person to ever buy a copy of Dungeons and Dragons?" I said, "What?" He says, "Yes, I, the founder of Chaosium, am also the first person to ever buy a copy of Dungeons and Dragons, because apparently Greg Stafford had a business partner in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin in 1970, I don't know what, and he was at a printing shop getting something printed. And a man walks out of the printing shop with box after box after box with fantasy drawings on the boxes. And the business partner knows his friend Greg Stafford is interested in this kind of thing and buys him a copy and sends it to him in California. And the person walking out of the shop, of course, was Gary Gygax with Dungeons and Dragons, the first edition, in a white box. And then that means that Greg Stafford was literally the first person to get a copy of Dungeons and Dragons. And so I hear that story, and I'm like, well, that's flipping amazing. Then the mother of the 12-year-old kid says, oh, we're related to Frank Menser. And Frank Menser is the guy who wrote the red box of Dungeons and Dragons.
Good Lord.
So, you know, literally you have the founder of the company that makes Call of Cthulhu giving, like, the grandnephew or something of the guy who wrote the D&D red box a copy of Call of Cthulhu. And again, my eyes just kind of went cross-eyed, and to be there was really awesome. I don't know if the story travels well. You guys will have to tell me later. But the moment was very, like, you know, how to put it, intergenerational and touching.
Put him in a headlock and gave him a noogie?
Of love.
Yeah.
A noogie of love. Yes, there were noogies of love given all around. And again, that's the kind of stuff that happens at Gen Con a lot, and they're priceless moments, especially, again, if you guys are going, I don't know if you're repping the podcast next year, but if you are, I highly recommend you get a Zoom and record everything you can, because you'll just wander into fascinating people who will talk to you on your microphone.
My goal is to get a picture with
We have one of these.
Let me say something so it'll... Oh, you're taking a camera.
It's a very nice camera, too. It takes time-lapse footage.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna. My goal is to get a picture with every single person dressed as Rogue that I can, because Rogue is my favorite X-Men.
Once upon a time, I had a girlfriend who dressed up as Rogue for Halloween, and I dressed up as Gambit, and it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Halloween costume.
It was a moment. It was a moment of nerdvana.
You've got I think 25 extra awesome points for that.
Hey, that was all her. Although the really nice thing is she dyed her hair. She dyed the stripe, so it stayed for like another 2 or 3 months.
Nice.
Excellent.
It was attractive. I'm not gonna lie. It did it for me.
I'm dating Rogue. Look at
Yeah, kind of.
She doesn't suck my life forces.
She doesn't have any powers that she could steal, so
Oh, the things I can't say because I'm being recorded.
we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
There's
I
Innuendo.
shared the link with you guys in the chat.
We will have to throw that up on Twitter for the world to see.
I haven't
Yeah.
listened to it in like a very long time.
I really hope.
Get it? A long time. I cracked myself up.
You're so funny. I thought I was the funny one, but well, I think that's it for us this week. What do you guys think? Want to wrap up now? This week,
Yeah, I think so.
the big rig's got to pull into the station.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He's logged too many hours. He's got to get his mandatory rest.
I know. So thanks so much for having me on again, guys.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Anybody who's listening to this, please check out the Plot Points podcast this week because it's the podcast that I essentially run with some co-hosts, and we tried narrative podcasting where we were going to tell a story, and we told the story of the Satanic Panic. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Libsyn, and find me on Twitter to tell me if you liked it or not. I am at @BenRiggs_. And that's my plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! So I'll see you guys at Gen Con, if not before. Although I'm guessing I'll be back on the show before then, unless...
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Man. You're always a good dude to come on.
I can talk a lot.
That's
Yeah.
important because sometimes we run out of ridiculous jokes and dick jokes and poop jokes and fart jokes today on the show. So there's only so many of those you can make in one show.
That's true. Then I will wave at you guys and say good night, East Coast time.
Good night, man.
Good night, brother.
Good night.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
being on the show.
At the Tavern,
My pleasure.
29, with Ben Riggs, the big rig.
The big rig.
The Big Ben.